Happy September, girls. I hope everyone had a very nice Labor Day weekend. Welcome to what I'm calling the month of manifestation. If you listened to Thursday's episode, you know our theme for this month is active best self energy. I always look at this time of year as the perfect time to realign with my goals because September brings that fresh back to school feeling where you just feel this renewed motivation and newness that we can really tap into to change our lives. I love sharing and teaching about manifestation because I want you to feel empowered in your life. I don't want you to feel like a victim of your time or your circumstances or your environment. I really want you to believe, to know that you are the creator of your life. A lot of times, I think this concept of manifestation can be used to, kind of mask responsibility for your current life or to make you feel worse about your life. It can be like this feeling of, like, see how much my life sucks now because I don't have all these things that I want. My life doesn't look like the vision board looks. But that is doing manifestation so wrong. And that is like not the point of manifestation at all. Manifestation means using actions, emotions, beliefs, and habits to create your own reality. It's not wanting something and praying it comes true. It means transforming your beliefs and emotions and actions to therefore attract or create, whatever you want to call it, the life that makes you the happiest. People think manifestation is like Cinderella's fairy godmother. Like, I want to go to the ball. And because you wrote about what kind of fancy dress you want to wear and what kind of carriage you want, or because you, I don't know, printed out and collaged pictures of the ball, the fairy godmother is going to come and make it happen. What manifestation actually is would be like if Cinderella was like, okay, what are my beliefs about why can't I go to the ball? How can I change my mindset to feel worthy enough to go? And then she starts, showing up like the version of herself who belongs at the ball. Maybe she borrows a dress, she asks for help, she practices walking in heels in her bedroom. Most importantly, though, it would be like, I don't need this asshole stepmother. Let me change my beliefs, actions, emotions so I can move out and never see her again. You see the difference? It's not the fairy godmother that magically gives you this. It's changing all of your beliefs to align with the life that you want so that you get the life for yourself. It's such an empowering place instead of this, like, I'm hoping for the best. And this is why I love talking about manifestation, not the aesthetic kind, not the Pinterest board version, even though I love my Pinterest boards and I always have Pinterest boards for all the things I'm manifesting. But I mean the real kind of manifestation. Because in a world where women are constantly taught that they're not in control of their own lives, practicing manifestation this way is radical. Think about it. So many of us are taught that life happens to us, that success is something we earn by following the rules, not something that we create. We're taught that we have to be picked to be in a relationship. We're taught our worth depends on how desirable we are. We're told our careers will hit ceilings, our bodies are problems to be fixed, our timelines for love and family are running out. We are told to wait for the raise, to wait to be chosen, to wait until we feel ready. So when I talk about manifestation, what I'm really teaching is how to reclaim power over your own life. It's about rewriting all of those messages and realizing that you don't have to wait for permission or for someone else to change your life. You get to decide who you want to be, and then you start being her. It's an act of rebellion, you guys. It's radical. And everyone's talking about manifestation and manifesting more money or whatever it is, but no one's talking about how to actually live manifestation day to day. So, today I want to share with you guys routines to implement that will actually make a big difference. This isn't just morning affirmations or vision boards, it's about how you intentionally structure your life to support becoming the person that you're meant to be. Because I think here's like the real tangible difference between what you might have seen on like manifestation TikTok versus the way that I talk about manifestation. I do not view manifestation as an activity to check off the to-do list. I view manifestation as kind of like a lens in which I see the world, as like a constant hum that's always there, where I'm constantly working to identify and transform limiting beliefs. It's identity work, really, is what it is. It's an active process. The habits that you build, the way you spend your mornings, what you do on Sunday evenings, these are not checklists. They are rituals that rewire your brain to believe that this is who we are. This is what we expect. This is what we're ready for. Ritualizing your life, both in the very big vision stuff and also in the tiny daily moments, both of which I'm going to talk about today, literally rewires your brain to expect success, abundance, love, whatever you're manifesting. And when your brain expects those things, it starts to find evidence of them everywhere. And that's how your life changes. I'm going to start more zoomed out with yearly routines, and then we will get into micro daily habits that will create huge impact for you. I have two major sessions every year that I call life mapping sessions. One I do on New Year's, but I actually think this in the fall is a really good time of year to also do this journaling session exercise, maybe honestly even better than New Year's. But this is the big manifestation journaling session. And the first thing that I do is to reflect how far I've come in the previous year and how much I love my life right now as it is. And it's typically really small things. Like I feel a deeper connection with my fiance than I did last year, or even just like, oh my God, I used to be doing math homework in high school, and now I get to spend my time doing something so much more fun and fulfilling to me than algebra. The point is, I really just want to feel in love with my life. Getting into that feeling of gratitude is so crucial to this manifestation process. Gratitude is the highest vibrational state. From a very quantum physics perspective, gratitude is a magnet. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot, that gratitude is the emotional signature of receiving. It's the energy that your body emits when your brain believes that something good has happened to you. In the quantum field, like frequencies attract like frequencies. Every emotion you feel emits a measurable electromagnetic signal, and you can actually measure these frequencies, these vibrations. Fear, doubt, stress, these feelings have very low frequencies. Gratitude, on the other hand, emits one of the highest vibrational frequencies that a human can produce. And when you're in that elevated emotional state, you are tuning your energy field to match the reality that you want, which again, like frequencies will attract other like frequencies. If that's really confusing for you, think of it like this. If the version of your life where you're thriving already exists as a possibility in the quantum field, then gratitude becomes the signal that draws it toward you. Like you're basically feeling the emotions of already having that thing or that life that you're trying to manifest. Like you're saying, I already feel the emotions of having this thing or this life, and therefore I will actually draw in that thing or this life because I already am in that frequency. I already have the feeling. When your internal state matches the energetic frequency of a desired outcome, the external world reorganizes to reflect that. If this is all a bunch of like, what the hell is happening? You're like, Josie, what word vomit did you just spew? In much simpler terms, just know that when you feel gratitude, it attracts more to be grateful for. And this isn't just some like, woo woo spiritual, self lovey kind of thing. This is actually measured in quantum physics. When you feel gratitude, it attracts more to be grateful for. You are literally collapsing the timeline between who you are now and who you want to become. So, tapping into the feeling of gratitude is probably the most important part of manifesting anything that you want. But just saying, I'm grateful for XYZ does not really do anything for me. And the point, again, is not just to like think I'm grateful for these things, but to feel, to get into the high vibrational state of gratitude as a state of being. So, what does do it for me, what does get me in that state is feeling awe for my life. I want to get into that feeling where I'm like, oh my God, I am so lucky. I am so in love with my life. So, in this life mapping session, I first spend as much time as I need to get into that state, just feeling proud of what I have already accomplished or how I have grown, thinking about all the things that I really love about my life. And now this gets me into this crucial vibrational state that is essential for manifesting. So once I've gone into this high vibrational state of gratitude, I've reflected on the past year, where I am now, how grateful I am for my life. I then make on a piece of paper categories of every area of my life, from health to finance to career to relationship to home, family, friendships. Then I write out where I am in each of these categories in 1 year from now. Like I will put the date at the top of the paper, September 2026, and I will explain what my life will look like in each of these categories in September of 2026. And I also write in present tense as if I am in it rather than writing like, I want my career to look like this or I want to make this much money. I'm writing in present tense. My career looks like this, or I make this much money because I'm training my nervous system to live these experiences. And also saying that you want something like kind of immediately separates you from that thing. It's another way of saying, I don't have it yet, right? When we say, I want a relationship, that's kind of another way going back to Cinderella, saying, like, I wish I could go to the ball, not saying, I'm going to the ball. I am actively experiencing the vibrational frequency of going to the ball. There's a big difference of just the way that you're writing it. So always write in present tense. My relationship looks like this. My career looks like this. I live in this kind of home. You really want to train your nervous system to experience those things as if you're already living it. I then like to do this exact same exercise, but in 5 years from now. So for September 2030, write in each category what my life will look like in September 2030. And the reason that I do this is because I feel like it's really helpful to keep the big picture in mind. If you're only focused on the short term, like what you want this year, it's easy to get stuck in instant gratification mode. You're just manifesting for the next milestone, a new job, a new apartment, maybe a certain amount of money. And while those things are important and you totally deserve to manifest what you want in terms of a new home, maybe you want to manifest a trip, whatever it is, like that's great. But these things are just stepping stones. When you zoom out to 5 years, you're forcing yourself to look at the trajectory of your life instead of the quick wins. And it also really helps you ask, am I wanting to manifest something because it truly will make me happy or because it's just the next logical step? It really keeps you from manifesting from a place of lack or urgency. And instead, it really allows you to create from a place of long term alignment. Psychologists actually talk about this with the future self connection, it's called. A 2015 UCLA study found that psychologically, people view their future selves as strangers. Like the version of themselves is a completely different person altogether. They do not feel connected to their future self. They kind of have the same relationship with them as they would to a stranger. The study identified this emotional disconnect as a way to prove why people don't save for retirement or why we engage in unhealthy behaviors, knowing that we're increasing our risk for disease in the future. Because even though we know logically, if I don't save money now, I won't have enough for retirement, or if I, smoke a cigarette now, that can increase my chance of lung cancer in the future. Like we know these things, but we psychologically feel so disconnected from our future self. We feel like strangers to our future self. And that is why we engage in these behaviors. So that's what this study was really trying to like look at and prove. But I think this is also important intel for manifestation because This emotional disconnect is why people are not making changes toward the life that they want now. I don't want your future self to feel like a stranger to you. I want you to know and connect to your future self so much you are no longer emotionally disconnected so that you can start taking actions for them and also as them. Studies show that when people feel emotionally connected to their 5 or even their 10-year future selves, they make better decisions today. They save more money, they take care of their health, they invest in relationships that matter. So, in other words, keeping the big picture in mind doesn't just help you dream bigger, it actually makes you more intentional with the small daily choices that you take today in order to get you there. So, yes, second step, journal about what you want for this year, what you're going to look like in September 2026, a year from now. But then zoom out, look at the 5-year picture, maybe even the 10-year picture. It also might help you kind of work your way backward. If you don't feel super clear on what you want in 1 year, maybe your long term goals are more obvious to you. And you can kind of work your way backward to identify where you want to be in 3 years and then 2 years. So then what that means your life should look like in 1 year. So after I have both kind of like my plan, if you will, my vision for a year from now, 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, if you're going crazy, I then make a list of 3 things per category: health, friendships, finances, career, home, all those categories that I can do now to get closer to each of these goals. So, for example, if in a year I want to be interviewing A-list celebrities, I want to interview Beyonce. Okay, you heard it here first. We're manifesting. One way to get there is to have a bigger network, right? So I can say, like, I'm going to ask someone new to coffee once a month, or I'm going to go to more events, or, whatever it is. It can be anything, any action steps you can take that in little ways can be getting you closer to that goal. If your goal is to be in a happy relationship in a year, if you're writing from a place of, I am in a loving, happy, healthy, stable relationship that is on track to marriage, but you're currently not in a relationship, maybe those action steps mean, you are going to make a plan for how many dates you go on in a month. Maybe you'll do weekly journaling sessions to get over negative self talk that's holding you back. Maybe you'll go to a therapist to talk about relationship fears that are stopping you from choosing a healthy relationship and preventing you from getting out of a pattern that you've noticed that is preventing you from being in a happy, healthy relationship that you want. So, those are some examples of action steps to take that are going to get you to that vision. The second big life mapping session that I do of the year is on my birthday. I really recommend, no matter when your birthday is, everybody does this on their birthday. I think there's something obviously that's super nostalgic and reflective about birthdays. And I think it's a really powerful time to tap into your inner child, to be really kind of like beyond the goals that we set for ourselves and what we want. It's kind of like coming back to ourselves to really make sure that our life is on track, not only just for like all the exciting things we want to manifest, but also in terms of like, is this actually getting me closer to feeling in alignment with myself? Is this what younger me wanted? Is this being true to her? So this one is more emotional for sure and fun. And it also was focused on energy and mindset rather than being more goal oriented. So again, the first main goal is the exact same as the other life mapping session. It's to get into that high vibrational gratitude state where I am in awe of my life. I'm so deeply grateful. I'm in that feeling of like, oh my God, I can't believe that I get to live this life. So, how I do that for this session is I look at where I am now from the eyes of different versions of me. Like, what would 6-year-old me think of this life? What would 15-year-old me think of the version of who I am now? I think this is just really important in general. If you've listened to other episodes, you've probably heard me talk about this mindset a lot. I stress it and talk about it so often because I think it's the most critical thing we could do in our lives. I do not want to live my entire life just focusing on what's next and completely miss that I'm currently in those moments that younger me would have been so amazed by and so excited about. I don't want to live my life so disconnected from 7-year-old me, you know? I think that is the key to presence, to happiness, like really being able to check in with that inner version of us. It's like the cliche inner child healing, but it's so true. Like everything I do in my life, everything I do is to make her proud. And I think that has gotten me so much closer to feeling presence, to feeling happiness, to feeling the true definition of success, like not what the outside world deems as success, but what would actually feel successful to me. That is like my guiding compass to everything. So, especially on a day like your birthday, where it's just natural that we kind of have this reflective, like, oh my God, my 30th birthday. I remember what I was doing on my 7th birthday. And it's a lot more, I guess, like reflective of past times in our lives. It's such a powerful day and time to tap into that perspective. For the purpose of manifestation, it's also really helpful because it helps you get into this state of gratitude, abundance. Oh my God, look at all I have. Look at the amazing life that I already am living, so that your internal state matches the energetic frequency of what you're manifesting. So once I get into the high vibrational state of awe for my life, gratitude, abundance, then I spend some time thinking less about goals or categories in my life, like in the other life mapping session, and more about who am I in this next year or this next age of my life. I think birthdays are a great time they're kind of like a different feeling of like having this fresh start. You're turning a new year. I think they're really tied to our identity, whether we're aware of it or not, especially having a big birthday. This year, in a few weeks, I'm turning 30. So obviously, every time you turn a new decade, it is this self reflection of like, oh my God, I identified with being in my 20s for literally 10 years. And now I'm almost tapping into a different identity. I am now in my 30s. We put a lot of like meaning and identity behind our age. And obviously, sometimes that's in a negative way. I could go on a whole side tangent about how we view aging, especially as women, or I guess how aging has been viewed on us, put on us. But even in not so negative ways of just it's part of our identity. So I think every time we turn a new age, it's this incredible time to reflect on who are we in this new age? Who am I becoming? And also, who have I become? Who am I going to be as the 30-year-old me? How am I going to talk to myself? How am I, going to interact in my relationship? How am I going to show up to work? It really gives us the opportunity, I think, to check in on who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? Rather than living our lives on autopilot and being so reactive, it's such a proactive way to be able to define our identities in however it feels truest for us. So that's what that life mapping session is really focused on, is reflecting on who do I want to be in this new age? What do I want this new identity to bring me? How do I want to show up? Those are the two big yearly life mapping sessions. I maybe spend 30 minutes, sometimes I'm really in the zone, spend a little bit more time. Sometimes you feel like you get enough out of it after 15 minutes, like whatever works for you. The only requirement I have for you is to put it on paper. There's something really magical about being able to write it down physically that's taps into your brain so much more effectively than if you're typing on a computer on your phone. So, writing it physically if you can, maybe play some nice music, light a candle, get yourself some coffee, like make the environment feel really good and relaxing so that you can really tap into all the feelings we want to feel. Because again, the whole purpose of manifestation is just getting into the right frequencies. So, the feelings are what matters, not like, okay, I checked everything off a to-do list that Josie told me to do. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's being able to feel certain feelings. Now, going into more quarterly or more seasonal routines, I think it's really helpful to pick energetic themes. You can also do this for just each month if you like that kind of timeline better. Especially, it's easier because I pick a theme for you on the podcast each month. So if you like that, picking energies for each month is great, or you can decide on a certain energy or focus for every season. I think energetic themes are super helpful because instead of just setting goals, of like in Q1, I want to make more money, or this month, I want to lose weight. And it's kind of like these vague, big goals that like don't really mean anything. And it's really, we can feel like a failure if we don't achieve that, which most goals are really dependent on external factors as well. So, like, I think that when we just set goals instead of energetic themes or intentions, that is really what holds us back from being able to feel the motivation that our life is actually changing. So instead of these goals necessarily, I ask myself, what's the energy that I want to embody this season or this month? Maybe it's expansion, and that's saying yes to opportunities, putting myself out there more. Maybe the theme is magnetism, being intentional about drawing the right people, clients, relationships towards me. Maybe it's recharging, slowing down, strengthening boundaries, stepping into a more quiet confidence. These energetic themes are so powerful because it shifts you out of checklist mode and into identity mode. So it's less about chasing outcomes and it's more about who you're becoming. Goals are great and obviously very important to keep up with, to set for yourself so you have intention in your life. But energy themes are what keep you aligned when life doesn't go exactly according to plan, because even if the external outcome shifts, you still are embodying that energy. And a lot of times we're trying to manifest something new while we're still holding on to old energy. Like, we're wanting abundance, but we're still living with scarcity mindsets or habits. We're hoping for love, but we're still identifying as someone who always gets hurt or who isn't lovable. So, focusing on themes forces you to pause and ask, am I bringing the aligned version of me into the season, or am I dragging along the old one? Is there an identity shift or energy that I need to tap into in order to get to where I want to be? So, you don't just set goals, you're deciding what energy you're carrying forward and what energy you're leaving behind. Another really fun but very helpful monthly routine to implement is what I like to call a future self dress rehearsal day. Once a month, dedicate a day to literally embodying your future self as much as you possibly can. Like, literally look at it as if it's your dress rehearsal. Dress how she would dress, eat how she would eat. Spend your day as if you already have the job, the relationship, health, the lifestyle you're manifesting. Wear what your highest self would wear. If they would order a smoothie out for breakfast, go for it. If they would go work at a coffee shop instead of at home, do it. This also might mean choosing one very scary but exciting action step that you've been putting off, like sending that email, applying for the job opportunity, having the scary conversation, signing up for the gym membership. This dress rehearsal day trains your nervous system to normalize that reality you're hoping for instead of seeing it as something out there that's like far away from you. And there's something about when you're already really tapped into your future self, you've dressed like her, you're making decisions like her, you're eating like her, your morning routines like her, you are channeling her in every way. It's so much easier to get yourself to do the uncomfortable action steps that are important for getting your goals. And that's how manifestation happens, is you embody the version of you that has what you want. So then you do the things it takes to get what you want. So this future self dress rehearsal day is just like a super tangible and fun way to make sure you're actually taking the action steps and also training your nervous system to feel closer to that version of you. Moving on to some weekly routines that you can practice on a more weekly basis. This, I would argue, is actually when it starts getting even more important, because one of the biggest mistakes that I see with manifestation, or even just like setting goals in general, is that people will set all these goals. We see this all the time with New Year's resolutions. People will set all of the resolutions and goals that they want to accomplish in the year. But as they go through daily life, they forget about their goals and they stop showing up as the person that they want to be because it always feels like it's this far off goal, to get a promotion, to lose weight, to get in a relationship. That feels like, oh, yeah, I'll get to that someday. I'll accomplish that someday. But then someday becomes never because it's always pushed off in the future. They're not focused on their daily small action steps of how they're actually showing up today rather than in the future. Arguably, the most important part of any manifestation routine is what you do on a daily basis because it keeps the vision of what you want at the forefront of your mind. So you're actually living intentionally to get there. The purpose is to consistently stay connected to the goals that I have for my life and who my highest self is on a more day to day and week to week basis. What this could look like for you is whenever your week starts, maybe you look at that as like Sunday, maybe it's when you check your schedule and your to do list the first thing Monday morning, is just to plan out and rethink your week with your future self in mind. So let's say you sit down with your planner or even just a notebook, your calendar, and you ask yourself one question: how would my highest self approach this week? Then you look at your week through her eyes. How would she spend her mornings? What would she say yes to? And what would she maybe lovingly say no to? What would she prioritize? Use that as your blueprint for how to structure your days and decisions this week. Next, audit your energy leaks. Be really honest with yourself. Where am I living out of alignment with the life that I want? Maybe it's still saying yes to draining obligations. Maybe it's scrolling on your phone before bed. Maybe it's putting off the one task that would actually move you forward. Notice all those little ways that you're still embodying an old identity instead of your highest self. Then decide what gets cut, what gets changed, and what no longer belongs in this season of your life. And here's the part that matters most. I'm going to give you a formula, okay? Intention plus action equals identity shift. Your intentions set the energy, but your actions lock it in. So every week, choose at least one concrete action that aligns with your future self and commit to it. That's how you stop just connecting with her and you start to become her. If you are a journaler or even a meditator and just like a good prompt to like think and meditate on, here are some weekly prompts that I love. First one, future you journaling, or I guess you could do future you meditating. Just think about, who is your highest self? What does her career look like? What does she wear? What does her morning routine look like? How does she eat? Where does she live? How does she speak to herself? How does she show up when a stressful situation comes up? How does she spend her evenings? I also really like this situation by situation. If you have a first date, if you have an interview, if you have a family dinner that you're nervous about, journaling or again meditating through a specific activity as your highest self. So I am on this interview and I speak clearly and confidently. I'm doing a presentation and my boss is so impressed by my ideas. I do this for almost every single interview I still do. I will sit and like write out, I am showing up to this interview super clear-headed. I listen intently. We have really great chemistry. We feel really connected. Like I really picture and visualize the interview going the best way it possibly could. You can apply this to every single situation in your life, first dates, going out with friends if you have social anxiety, whatever it is. Apply a visualization to your life. You can kind of use this almost as like a strategy session for how to think or act before any event that you want. And then you can also journal as you're planning out upcoming days or weeks. Journal through what you have going on at work or in your personal life, your workouts, whatever it is. And then go through your entire schedule, journaling about how you are going to show up to these things as your highest self, what your highest self would do in your specific workout. So it's not just like, oh, my future self, loves Pilates. Okay, great. But like you have 3 workouts scheduled at the gym this week. How does your future self, your highest self, show up to those workouts? What does she do differently? What is she doing to prepare beforehand? How does she make sure that she gets there on time? How does she show up as her best self during those workouts? If you're a type A girly and you like calendars and planning get you excited, another kind of journaling activity you can do is just to journal through your weekly plan, your schedule, thinking about where you can restructure your time to do more work that it takes to get towards your goals. So that's another place that journaling can be really helpful and come into play on a very strategic weekly basis. One more little weekly routine that has honestly changed my life that I want to share with you is what I call my CEO Mondays, where every Monday is where I tap into my boss bitch energy. I stack all my meetings this day, I analyze data, I go through my inbox, I do high level strategy, and I also do my weekly finance check in, which I like to call my wealth management instead of just like a budget check in because it sounds so much bougier. And I swear, just the words you use can transform whether you're feeling abundant or lack mindset. Obviously, your day does not have to be Mondays. Obviously, you do not have to like stack things at work if it doesn't make sense for you. But I would just spend one day a week that's like your boss bitch day, your CEO day, whatever you want to call it, where you do a money date with yourself and in a fun way. You don't need to necessarily be manifesting more money, of course, but money is a tool to live your best life. And money is one of the clearest mirrors of our beliefs, our energy, and the way that we see ourselves in our lives. I've learned this the hard way, and it is one of the hugest things that I've been working on as someone who has a very default lack mindset and anxiety when it comes to money. But at its core, money is just energy. It's a neutral resource. It's like an exchange of value. And most of us attach so much emotion to it: fear, scarcity, guilt, even shame. It's never just about numbers, it's about energy, self worth, value. Dr. Joe Dispenza actually explains this really well. Everything in the quantum field is made of energy, and like I said earlier, like frequencies attract like frequencies. If you are vibrating in scarcity, you are going to match with more scarcity. But when you step into, again, gratitude, abundance, but also worthiness and openness with money, you shift your frequency to abundance, and abundance attracts more abundance. So again, it's not necessarily about attracting money. I don't know many of us who at this point, especially at this economy that we're currently in, that we wouldn't want to attract more money, but I really just look at money more of like as an energy source. If we're feeling scarcity with money, but we're trying to attract abundance in our dating life or in our career, that lack mindset with money is going to show up there. It's really more of like another way to manage energy and shift energy that will help you manifest anything that you want in your life. So, what does this look like in practice? It might mean every day in your boss bitch day, you pay your bills with gratitude instead of dread. I'm so grateful to have power, to have water, to be able to have Wi Fi instead of this like, ugh, this money's leaving me and my Wi Fi bill is $89. It might mean celebrating $5 coming in with the same energy that you would celebrate $5,000 coming in because you're training your nervous system to feel safe receiving. It might mean rewriting the story that you've carried for years, like, I'll never make enough money in a creative career, or money makes people greedy, and deciding on a new story. Money expands my impact. Money gives me freedom. I am safe to have more money. And here's kind of the reason to explain more why I'm connecting money with manifestation. Honestly, for me personally, more and more, and why I'm talking about money now on this episode, besides the obvious of needing money to reach manifestations like traveling more or a certain type of home or living in a certain type of neighborhood. Money gives women what we have been denied for centuries: the power of choice and true freedom. Choice to no longer do the things that diminish us, to invest and grow what matters to us and what makes us happy. So you can and should feel in control and abundant with your finances. You should know what's going in and out and make intentional decisions to make your dollars not only work for you, but design your dream life literally dollar by dollar. Like paying your bills is intentionally building your dream life. You deserve to feel gratitude for that. Every month that your rent goes out of your bank account, and it's easy to feel that, like, oh my God, rent is getting more and more expensive. It's such a different reframe that I have had to force myself into of this is not like, oh my God, money is always leaving me. This is like, I am intentionally investing this money to have this nice roof over my head, to live in this place that I've chosen to live. I think it's also a lot of reflection on, is buying that shirt or ordering takeout or getting a latte every day building your dream life? It may or may not be. I'm not trying to put any value on it because it's not up for me to decide what's your dream life. There are some items of clothing that are certainly a part of my best self energy and help me feel my best. I just spent $100 on shoes, which I like never buy myself new things because I was like, this is an investment in my highest self because I'm going to wear these shoes and feel so much better when I'm going to in-person interviews because I feel confident. I feel like my future self. So I'm not the person whose advice is like, don't buy the latte or don't buy the shoes or don't order takeout. Like you get to decide what is part of your dream life. It's just about the intentionality of knowing and making those intentional decisions to know that your dollars are actually working for your dream life instead of against your dream life. So, in addition to just reviewing what's coming in and out, I also do money journaling. If you want to try this, here are my prompts that I do on my CEO Mondays. First one, looking at the way I've used money this past week. Which dollars were spent as investments in my dream life, which includes joy, pleasure, career, well being, and which expenses or patterns are keeping me small? Second prompt, if my life is a company and every dollar I have is an employee, how can I give each one I spend this week the best job to improve the company? AKA, how can I give every dollar the best job to improve my life? And then the last one, if I looked at money as my highest self would, a tool to create growth, happiness, and freedom, what would I stop worrying about? What would I start doing? And what would I confidently invest in next? So I love doing a weekly money check in, and that's coming from someone who has felt out of control with money literally every year and every day of my life until probably a matter of months ago. So you can do this too. But also tapping into this energy on a weekly basis is this energetic reminder that, like, I am the CEO of my own life. Like, I am a bad bitch. I am in control of my life. And now let's look at the daily routines, the micro decisions that end up changing everything. Because while the annual and monthly routines can obviously be incredibly powerful, I believe the actual manifesting comes from micro actions and very small beliefs that make up our day to day. I've talked about this a lot before, so you probably have heard it from me, but it really bears repeating. Self esteem is your ceiling. You are only able to achieve what you believe you are capable and worthy of. So, my main daily focus is to improve my self esteem and what I believe I am capable of. I basically want to be in an active state of removing limiting beliefs and increasing my self esteem so that I am more motivated and inspired to actively work toward my goals. What this might actually look like tangibly, some daily practices that help me manifest daily. One, turning on guided activations on the Activations app. You probably have heard Mimi Bouchard on the podcast. She's the founder of Activations, but I really love these in the morning or before bed. It actively helps me improve what I believe I'm capable of or visualize my goals. You can also just like YouTube or look up on Spotify visualizations for my best self. Like it's just basically listening to something in the background, especially like first thing in the morning or before bed when your brain is in that beta wave state, that it accesses your subconscious so that you can start rewiring those internalized beliefs. I also am recording more of those 5-minute pep talks you guys loved. I actually have another one coming out Thursday, so come back. The idea is just to listen to something, putting it into your subconscious as you're getting ready in the morning or as you're driving on your commute to help you rewire your brain whenever you can. It's like habit stacking, improving your self esteem into just your everyday. The second thing is to see discomfort or fear as a green light instead of a red light. I actively make myself do uncomfortable things all the time, whether it's putting myself out there at work or doing a more challenging workout to get comfortable being uncomfortable instead of using discomfort or not feeling ready as an excuse to avoid taking the actions I need to take to get the life that I want to have. I try to do uncomfortable things all the time, like literally on a daily basis as much as I possibly can. Like, for example, I am trying to go on other podcasts more and say yes to being interviewed because I am so uncomfortable with it. Like, my comfort zone is in interviewing and then having control over the outline on my own podcast for like these solo episodes. That is my comfort zone. That's where I feel great. But being interviewed is hard because I feel so self conscious of like who's going to care about what I'm saying. I just get in my head about it. So last week I went to do an interview, and of course, I was overthinking like, okay, what I said that whole podcast interview didn't make sense, or I said the wrong thing. I didn't mean like I got so in my head about it. And I just know that's the discomfort talking. Like I looked at that as like, I'm so uncomfortable doing that. I need to do that more. I need to lean into it. That is the right thing to do instead of avoiding where I feel discomfort or fear. I try to do something like that every single day. The next thing, romanticizing my life, the little ways we can make our life feel more beautiful. It's really like you're living as if you already have your dream life, playing a Nancy Myers playlist, making my very extra luxurious cacao latte, working at a coffee shop. Like all of these things are ways that you can feel like you're already in your dream life. And if you want more tips for this, listen to my episode about romanticizing your dream life. That's episode 195. I have a lot more tips, but this is really such an essential and fun part because when you make your life as it already is feel more enjoyable and pleasurable, you attract more pleasure and joy into your life. And then lastly, to no one's surprise, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I'll say it 1,000 times. Remember that when we are grateful for what we have, we attract more of that to us. So I try to actively feel in love with my life on a day to day basis every single day, no matter how hard my day was, what challenges came up, how tired I am. Gratitude is always a daily and even a minute by minute focus for me. When you practice gratitude daily on a regular basis, you are training your nervous system to feel safe, abundant, and supported, which makes you more open to receiving even more. And like I said before, that Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it the ultimate state of receivership. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational states you can be in. It literally attracts more to you. It's a magnet. When you're in love with your life, exactly as it already is, by the way, it's not, oh my God, I'm so excited about this thing that I'm working toward, or the life that I'm envisioning, or the vision board. When you're in love with your life exactly how it is, you radiate a frequency according to quantum physics. Again, this is all researched that naturally attracts more things to love, more opportunities, more abundance. So just remember, it's not about writing a gratitude list once and checking the box. It's about feeling gratitude so consistently, really letting yourself drop into that heart centered state of appreciation until you feel that shift in your body. You feel it. It's like a physical reaction. Your breath slows, your shoulders relax, your chest opens. I always feel it like it's this like glow around me. Like I literally can feel this different glow that's radiating from me. That's not just your imagination. The frequency of your body is shifting to attract something different to you. That is when you're in the frequency that attracts more to be grateful for. And also, a last point about gratitude, and maybe honestly, this is the most important part. I don't want you to get so caught up in manifesting the future that you forget to be happy now. Because the truth is, the future that you're working so hard to create is always going to be in the future. There will always be a new milestone, a next level, another version of your dream life waiting for you. But your present, this moment, this day, this season of your life is the only place where manifestation actually happens. It's the only place that life actually happens. If you're always living for the next thing, you are missing the fact that you are already living a life that you once really freaking hoped for. There's a past version of you who dreamed of the very things that you have right now, the apartment you live in, the people in your life that you maybe take for granted, the job that you have that you complain about, even all of the growth that you've gone through. And if we don't realize that deeply to our core, not just logically can see that, but we don't feel that, what's the point of manifesting? What's the point of becoming our future self if we don't realize it when we become her? This is starting to sound pretty like trippy and meta, but you are the future self of a past version of you. You know what I mean? Like you once wanted to be who you are now. If you're not enjoying that life, if you don't feel that, if you're not realizing what you have already manifested, what is the point? What's the point of manifesting more if you're not already feeling happy as you are? So, when you fall in love with this life that you already have, you're not only aligning with the frequency of abundance, you're also just not postponing your happiness for some imaginary someday. You're living it right now. Manifestation isn't about waiting for life to get good. It's about realizing that life is good and then building on that goodness to expand into more. So, yes, dream so big, map out your future so you're being intentional and you're empowered to change your life or create your life where you want to. But don't forget to look around often and remind yourself this is it. Like when I get too caught up in my future goals, that's the phrase I remind myself of often. This is it. This is the life I am so lucky to be in. So if you take anything from this episode today, I hope that it's that manifestation is not about waiting for a future version of your life to finally make you happy. It's about creating that happiness now. That's why this episode is focused on routines because it's not about someday or dreaming or creating a vision board for what might one day hope for, what the godmother is going to bring you to hopefully get you into the ball. It's about how you live today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who's manifesting big things too. We are all about supporting one another. I genuinely believe in my heart and soul that the more I manifest, the more you manifest. The more you manifest, the more I manifest. Like we are meant to rise in collective. You know, we are really fed this lie, by the way, that there's this scarcity, like there's only so much opportunity and success to go around. Don't buy into that bullshit. That's intended to keep us disconnected and therefore small. As women, we are so freaking powerful that we manifest more together. The more success women have, the more success they create for other women. So send this episode around, share it to your social media. Make connection and community a part of your manifestation journey. I promise it will make it so much more powerful and you will manifest so much quicker. Please also leave us a review. Let me know in the Spotify comments for this episode which routine you want to try first. And subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. My regulars know that every episode is literally an expression of my heart and soul. And as always, thank you so much for spending time with me. I love having these conversations with you, and I cannot wait to hear what manifestations you call into your life. Until next time, every girls, enjoy your dream life that you already have now. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know I sure did. please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference for our show so we can keep growing and bringing the content that you love. If you want more info, you can find us at the Evergirl Podcast on Instagram or theeverygirlpodcast.com. Talk to you next week.